Welcome to EnVision Center News, where we discuss community impact and involvement with today's nonprofit leaders and philanthropists.
Hello and welcome to the podcast. I'm very excited to talk about the nonprofit work that you're doing because it's exactly the type of nonprofit work I'm very interested in and has impacted my life. But before we get into that, can you tell me a little bit about both of you and where your paths crossed maybe and where you started off before your paths crossed and education, where you're from, all that good stuff.
Okay. I'm from Kentucky, born and raised. Never lived anywhere else until I met Jake. We met at church. I lived in Kentucky for 31 years before we moved to Sandpoint. We moved in 2012. One of three. I have a twin sister and an older sister who passed away when I was 17.
Oh, sorry to hear that.
That's okay.
Is your sister an identical or fraternal?
No, she's fraternal. She's got dark hair, and I've always been blonde. So people couldn't tell us apart for, I feel like, pretty good. But and then I went to school for art originally at University of Kentucky, an undergraduate degree in art. And then we met at just a local church when, probably we were in our mid-20s. Yep. Literally met in January, got engaged in April, got married in June that same year. It was very quick. You
sound like a couple that meets in church.
It was very quick.
Yeah.
And then we were married for a couple years, I think, before probably 5 years before we moved out here. Mm-hmm. And then at that time we had a daughter, and she was 3 when we moved here. We had to go through fertility treatments to have her, but she's our little miracle baby, and I feel like that's where our paths crossed.
What did you think you were going to do with your art degree? Be an artist or teach
no,
art?
well, before I met him, because I was graduating with my art degree in the end of 2005, and then I got into the occupational therapy master's program.
Oh.
And then just with everything I had going on with my health journey, I had some surgeries that kind of set me back a little bit. And then I met him, and the program that I was in only offered certain classes in certain semesters. So I would have to wait. And then by that time we were trying to get pregnant, and it was like, this is not the way the Lord wants me to go. This is not the path he wants me on. So I have my undergraduate degree in art. I still paint when I can. But now I'm a nurse. So
okay.
I did
Quite the
something
pivot.
completely different.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
Interesting.
Yep.
Jake, what about you?
I was born in Southern California, raised mostly in Oregon. My business partner from Sandpoint has been my friend since 4th grade. That's kind of how we ended up in Sandpoint.
Okay.
We came out here to vacation when Avery, our oldest, was maybe 18 months old, and sort of just raised an eyebrow like, this is an interesting place, and didn't have an intention to move here at that point. Came back about a year later. About that time, my business partner was working on buying out an appraisal business in town. Through a variety of conversations, he asked if I wanted to be involved in it, and we set basically a 2-year timeline to move here, and that went in about 6 months. We were here, so it was a pretty quick timeline.
Yeah.
And so then landed here, been doing real estate appraisal work, have a real estate license, have done a variety of different real estate work over the years, served on a couple of other nonprofit boards, was on a local church board, was on the Waldorf School Board, and around the time Avery was 8, we started an adoption process, and so we prayed for and had the blessing of a baby boy in March of 2019. Yeah. So, and then, he's been awesome. And so we had, what was he, about 5, maybe 4.5, we started another adoption journey. And a lot of that, the experiences that we had with adoption sort of planted the seed and led us down the road to arrive where we are today with launching the maternity home to help pregnant moms.
So tell me, it seems like a pretty easy segue, or maybe it's not. I mean, there's you can see the connection between adoption and a maternity home, but maybe were you dealing with a maternity home when you went through these adoptions, or did you see a need because of the adoptions, or were you just like, we want to be involved in helping mothers, families some way? Okay, maternity home.
Right. Yeah, it's been a progression. So our first adoption story, we had a local 15-year-old girl who selected us to adopt the the boy she was going to have. And
is it a thing where she like goes to a website and she's reading through about
yeah,
different
she
families?
selected
Okay.
a profile, like we
Okay.
had profile
Yeah.
books, and
Okay.
through an agency out of Coeur d'Alene,
Okay.
actually. And then so we were matched, and we were excited, and we met with her, and then took her out to lunch one day, and we're just building a relationship. At that time, Jacci was working in the ER as a nurse, and even when she gave birth, she was saying that, I can't wait to place this child with a nurse that works here. And then we've since mentored some families in adoption, but I always say, like, until the baby's in the world, you just don't know what's going to happen. And so with this young mom, she started spending time with the baby, and then ultimately decided to parent, which we were, okay with. We were obviously heartbroken at the time, but within, 12 hours, we said, well, what is she going to do? We knew that she didn't have resources. We knew there was a reason she was placing the baby. We had heard she was homeless, and we reached out to that agency and said, well, can we just adopt both of them? Can we adopt the 15-year-old
Yeah.
and become grandparents right away, I guess? And just this compassion of like, what is she doing? And we reached out to her and said, we love you. Like, it's okay. We're not mad. And, but if you need anything, please let us know. And that was sort of the seed planting, I guess, for us to start knowing, okay, these things happen in the world, and what happens to women in that situation. So,
what are the laws? Like, how long does a mom have to change her mind, or what? How does that work? If you're like, okay, you're going to be adopted, but then she did she make the choice after she saw the baby, or before? Not before the birth.
No, pretty much. She had intended to place the baby with us, probably still for a day, but she said, I'm just not ready. I'm still wanting to spend time and say goodbye.
Yeah.
But the longer the time goes on, the more connection, which
of
again
course.
is great. Like I fully believe that her keeping that child set her life up on a better trajectory, right? And so just that experience in Idaho, I think it's maybe a week that they can change their mind.
I mean,
it's very
different.
state by state.
It's different.
Yeah.
State by state different for when moms can change their mind. And in Idaho, it depends on if it's with an agency or if it's private adoption.
I see. Okay.
So I feel like with our son in Utah, he was adopted, and they do a 6-month post-placement visit with the social worker that does your initial home study visit, and then they kind of put the stamp of approval on it, and then you go before a judge, and then he finalizes it. So you're not not gonna get to, but it's basically you'd have to commit a felony or something really drastic to be able to not be able to complete the adoption process. But with our daughter, our recent daughter, she's almost 2. It was a private, local adoption. So within, I want to say, a couple of different hearings, it was maybe over the period of a month and a half, and that was just based on court dates. It was probably like 30 days, I would say, which is it's still, but it's different by state, because some states months can go by and moms can still change their mind.
I think Utah, it's like one of the fastest, maybe 48 hours. So Utah has a pretty high adoption. A lot of adoption agencies exist in Utah, partially for that reason. But that's another. We've grown to be a bit more experts in the adoption world than we thought we would be. But it's when you're successful, and then you can mentor other people to then be successful. Infant adoption's challenging. So.
Okay, so you had made this connection with the birth mother. She decided to keep the baby, and then you had offered her help. Did she take you up on it, or that was it? You didn't really hear from her again, but that's just the seed was planted.
Right.
Okay.
We didn't hear from her, and then a year later, Jacci spent 7 years on the board at Life Choices Pregnancy Center, and we were at their main fall fundraiser event. And by that time, our son was 1. We had a successful match maybe 3 months later for our son. And so the then executive director, Christine DeNova, had delivered a pretty heartfelt message that night. And I actually left and sent her a message and just said, wow, that was really a heavy-hitting message. I really appreciated what you said. And I could envision Jacci and I maybe having a couple rooms in our house to support pregnant moms. Like, I don't know what it looks like, but I know that you stirred something in us, and it has just, that was 6 years ago, and probably 3 years ago it started to become more apparent that we should launch a full 501c3 and step into that. with both of our board experience and just business experience and then real estate experience.
Yeah.
It just sort of made sense to be more formalized than just helping people with housing, which is a thing that we've done informally for years. But stepping into this.
So I guess maybe just define, what is a maternity home? What does that mean exactly?
I think it can vary depending on the type, but ours is a faith-based, kind of Christ-centered place just for moms to come to live if they don't have reliable housing when they're pregnant. And our particular program is just going to be offering housing for first-time moms, at least first, because we really want to cater to that mom individual needs and give them the wraparound care that they need. So for us, it's just reliable, safe, Christ-centered housing that's in a space that they can come and just feel loved and not alone, and just be able to heal if they have any trauma, or just be able to kind of rest in their decisions. And some of the women, I'm sure, will be faced with the potential of, do I place my baby or not? Or do I keep it? Can I parent when I leave here? They'll be working with the pregnancy centers, collaborating with us to offer their services to our residents and moms that are at our house, and they'll be doing classes and counseling and different things with them. And, you know, it's a different approach to be able to live on the same land as the maternity home. Most homes that we've come encounter with usually are kind of like right in the middle of a town or in a city, and there's not really a lot of space for them to kind of just be.
We put in a nature trail through the woods. It's 20 acres is where the property exists.
And you live there also in a different house? Okay.
Yeah.
So there's
we say across the street.
Wooded,
it's really just
across the driveway.
There's
a wooded trail system, and just part of just what we know and what a lot of us know about North Idaho is you walk outside and you see the beauty and you breathe in the fresh air. And so part of our passion was like, how do you extract somebody out of a situation that is all like negative influences and not uplifting and maybe more of a chaotic city environment, and then place them into North Idaho, like they choose to come here, where like, oh, okay, I didn't know life could be like this. I didn't know air could smell like this, and just a different experience. And I didn't know people could support me like this. I didn't realize that a community could come around you, and here's people that are saying like, oh yeah, you can parent. Where I came from, they might have been really driving them to terminate the pregnancy, and so just a different, a totally different life, right?
Yeah.
And then staying with them, the women will stay with us until the baby is 6 months to a year, and then after they come in, we'll pretty quickly start working on like, what's the transition plan going to look like? Is there family healing that needs to happen? Is there trust that needs to be rebuilt with family? Is it in local host homes where a mom might be, or a family might be willing to say, hey, I'll mentor this mom after she's out of your program, and I'll bring her into my home for another year and maybe help with some childcare while she gets back on her feet, gets back to work. The step 2 housing, it's, for me, I'm sort of more of like the dreamer visionary, and we just opened, but I'm thinking about like step 2 and what does that look like? Can we build a duplex? Like what can we do to help solve the step 2 problem? But I think that I know that will take care of itself in the same way this has, as we've walked faithfully forward and just seen it come to life. It's, we presented to a church a couple of weeks ago, and we sort of look at each other like, I can't believe we're actually here. Like this is like we're at this point in time because we've been talking about it together for, I don't know, 6 years. And to be here where we are, it's pretty remarkable. We're just honored to be a part of it, honestly.
Yeah. So in you're saying any, like, moms can come from anywhere? It's not like you're just serving like Bonner County or whatever. There might be a mom in a different state or something.
Right. We did have a mom reach out from Ohio just right after our Facebook launch, and she was Googling pregnancy help, and for whatever reason our launch had traction enough to pop up, and she just asked if we could work with her, and we said we could. We would figure out a way to vet her through an organization there, and then get her a plane ticket and bring her out. But that was like a one-day conversation, and so you have these moments where you you lean in and they're excited, and then there's days that go by that you don't hear from somebody. So, we're just waiting for the first one at this point. But
And how many places like this exist in Idaho? Do you know? Like, how many maternity homes are there
there's
out
3
there?
in Idaho.
Wow.
Like, we're the 3rd.
Wow.
And the 2nd opened in Lewiston, maybe like within the last 6 months. So there was one for a while.
Okay.
And there's about 420 nationwide, I think. So there's not a lot. A lot of them are affiliated with pregnancy centers. There was one in Spokane that was attached to that pregnancy center that isn't operational anymore. But I think it's, it's interesting. For us, we're not going to have high turnover, but with the amount of time we get to spend, like, we'd want that to be really productive time. And so it's nice to be able to say, we might have women stay in the home for a year and a half, and you can really
Pour into 'em.
see a lot of life change in that amount of time. Yeah.
Yeah. And I guess, what is the vetting process? So you're looking for someone who's not going to come and destroy the house. I guess they're not some crazy criminal or something.
Yeah. Well, we're not equipped to be like a rehab place.
Yeah.
And so we know that, like, we've drawn those lines and said, hey, we'll bring you in, but you need to be 30 days through a rehab facility.
Yeah.
And then come in and we'll serve you. And so really it's, non-violent criminal background is not okay.
Yeah.
So certain things, like, very, the bar isn't super high, but there's a bar that exists. And, we'll do some initial interviewing, and then they'll interview with the pregnancy center here. So they just have a lot more experience in those interviews than we do at this point. So they'll help us make the decision whether or not it's a good fit.
And how many women can you host?
3.
3.
Yeah.
Okay. And just single moms, basically.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
First time moms with that are pregnant. And for now, thinking in our initial launch, it's, initially we talked about maybe allowing women in with children up to 2. There's maternity homes that do allow other kids, but we need to get our feet wet for a while first.
Yeah, totally
Yeah.
understandable. Yeah. And then you did say you would pay for the plane ticket or whatever. If it's somebody who's out of state, you'll get them here.
Right. Yeah. I mean, especially that situation was a domestic violence. They're trying to leave for a particular reason, and we want to be helpful in that and help them, step into a new life if that's what they're desiring. Right. So.
How did you get it off the ground, like, funding wise? Did you go to a bunch of churches? Did you, like, I know you're partnering with some other nonprofits. Like, how did you approach that?
We pretty much self-funded it.
Okay.
Up until now.
You got it started, and now you're like, okay, I'm ready for.
Right. We just, there was a variety of things that happened on the property, and just that we arrived at a point where the home that we had built, we decided was going to be the maternity home.
Okay,
it wasn't
that was gonna
originally
be my
going to
next
be that.
question. Okay.
And so it was like, okay, this is what the Lord had planned for this structure. And we bought raw land with the intent of doing the maternity home. It was originally going to be, a small apartment in the second floor of a barn, and we were just going to help people, on our own. It wasn't going to be the 501c3. So now that we're here, we decided to have an established separate home, and then, so all the way along, it just didn't, not that it didn't occur to me, it just felt like we can do this and we can get it off the ground, and then we can have something that people can see, touch, and feel. The house exists. We're not trying to acquire a house or trying to get a rental and trying to do those things that are challenging on the front end. So we're blessed to be able to launch this way, having control of the housing component.
Yeah.
And so that's why we're sort of right now in our major fundraising launch with enough funds to get off the ground and then sort of, lay the foundation for, acquiring additional funding.
Okay.
Right.
And you are accepting, like, somebody could move in very quickly if they passed all your interviews and stuff like that. Okay.
Yeah. We have a house mom that is amazing. We actually haven't offered her the official job yet, but she's getting the job. She came from Spokane. She worked with her husband for 7 years in a maternity home. Her husband passed away 3 years ago, so she just never thought that she would be in Idaho. Her daughter wanted to move up here, and so she said, okay, I'm going to put my house on the market, and I'm I'm going to just be faithful and step into this new chapter. And she told us that the day that she signed the purchase and sale agreement is the day that she saw the social media launch for the organization. So it was pretty spectacular that, it was just, she said, oh, my heart leapt, and I didn't want to send you something that was too excited, but I sent, she reached out, she's like, oh, I'm so thrilled about this. And, that's been over the last 3 to 4 weeks as we've gotten to know her, and her house has since closed. And so she was up visiting the property yesterday and just fell in love with the space. And we're just, overwhelmed to have somebody with that breadth of experience who's willing and just wants to step right in to the role. And so she's helped, like I say, 100 moms. And so she has and she helped moms that were 12 years old up to 30 years old. So they were doing minors at that time. We won't have minors available to live in our home right away. It's a future goal, but for now it's 18 and over.
Yeah.
But
I suppose maybe sometimes you get much older, perhaps. I don't know, because there could be a situation where there'd be like a 40-year-old woman who's a first-time mom in a bad situation, and because you could see how that could actually, the plan was not for us to have children, right? And someone gets pregnant later in life, and you could have a really wide range.
Yeah, both of our leads so far have been in their 30s.
Yeah,
in their mid-30s, so it can definitely sneak up on you.
Right. It's not a narrative that's always told either. It's like people
no,
have
that's
this
the one
image
that's
that is
everyone. I feel like when you talk about unplanned pregnancies, everyone always assumes it's in the teenage years.
Right.
Yeah.
But that's just not.
That's not the truth.
It's not the truth.
Yeah.
I mean, you can get pregnant anytime. So
Yes.
we're here to serve, cater all ages.
yeah.
So as the house mom, does she doesn't live there? She just visits every day, or what does that look like?
Nope, she'll live there.
Oh, she
on
will.
site.
Okay.
So
Okay.
she'll be, and then we'll have some volunteer respite care for her, so that she has time to go and spend time with her daughter and just refresh, and then come back in. And so that's the perfect model. Really is the live-in house mom that's available. 24 hours a day. And then part of what we're going to offer as well is night support. So when baby's born, mom needs help in the night, and they can count on the fact that we'll have someone there and available for them, at least one night a week to offer them that support to take care of the baby, let them catch up on the rest.
Oof,
and
what a blessing.
Just the idea of knowing that that's coming is huge for moms.
And we have a little building on our property that was, I guess, initially designed as an art studio space for me, but it's been repurposed since in multiple different fashions. And now it is a fully functioning cottage that's going to be the house mom's dwelling.
Oh, wow.
So she'll be able to kind of leave the main space and get to her own bedroom and have kind of her own quiet.
I thought you were going to say like birth tub or
Oh, yeah.
something.
No. Although
birth's
that
out of
came
the
up in
farm.
conversation yesterday where like, what do you, I mean, I've had people ask me that as we're launching, or what happens if they want to have a home birth? And I said, I don't reckon I've really thought about that really.
Yeah.
I mean,
We've been advised to, if there's a midwife, like they call it a midwifery or something. I don't know what they call it.
Yeah.
Where you go and have the baby.
The birth center in
Right,
town?
the birth
Yeah.
center. Yeah, that's what I was looking for. But
you can leave those questions to me.
right. No, those are out of my wheelhouse for sure. I'm like, bring in the cattle trough.
Because those people that want to have a tub, and that's not, no one is saying no, but it's also, we want to be respectful of the other people that are living in the same house. So we probably would have to
And the
recommend
insurance.
that they would go with the birthing center, which has those opportunities for them, which is also local. So it would feel very like they were delivering at home. But
And those ladies are great. I've delivered there, and they're the ones that even informed me that I could, even though I had insurance and stuff, and you maybe heard this because you said you listened to that conversation, that they said, why don't you go get your ultrasound at the pregnancy center? And I was like, well, I'm not in a crisis pregnancy or anything. They're like, no, you can go. Any mom can just go.
Yep, any mom.
So they're great. They're plugged into the kind of the pro-life circuit, which you'd think all midwives are, but I've also experienced midwives that aren't. It's very strange, but
Well, and I
we don't
think
need to get into that.
as I talk about the maternity home, it's what I like about it is, and it was sort of a byproduct that I didn't expect, is it's a very unifying thing that's happening. It's like nobody really can argue against supporting a mom who wants to have the baby.
You'd think. I've heard some people make. I don't want to go down that path.
It's a rabbit hole, but
there's some people
I like to
that
think it's unifying versus dividing.
Generally,
right?
Yes,
Yeah.
I think for 99% of people, it's unifying.
Right.
And it's just great too to be able to say, because I'm a pro-lifer, and that's something that people always say is, well, what about after you don't care? What about after the baby?
Pro-birth,
which I know is nonsense, but to even just have some more resources, in the back pocket to say, no, this is the ways that this community supports moms is really awesome. What are some ways that, if any, that people can get involved or volunteer things or stuff that you would need other than you've got the house mom position covered?
Right.
You've talked about that you're partnering with other groups to do counseling and things like that, but do you need a housekeeper or somebody to come cook meals or a landscaper or things like that?
Yeah, I think one of the ways people can plug in, we do have our website, hhfsanctuary.org, and there's a forms tab. So if you do want to participate in the maternity home, you can put your name, email address, a little message box about what your passions are. Some people have just said, I don't really know, but I want to help.
Yeah.
And one of the examples that we use is like, well, if you can cook a good meal, you could come over a couple times a month and maybe you can teach, how do I cook my family's favorite meal? And a lot of it is just the relationship building and the support that the women will see with multiple women coming in and out of the house to volunteer. And so, I think the answer really is kind of an all of the above. What are your passions? And we'll have a trail cleanup day for the nature trail in the spring, and that's something that men can be involved in. And we've got another organization that's going to build the benches, and we have like prayer benches on the nature trail, and we'll have a gazebo set up for in the woods for just another respite space. So sort of utilizing the natural environment to not feel like you're cooped up in the house. But I mean, the obvious one is financial help. We are 100% donor funded. As executive director, I'm doing that, but no compensation for that, and which maybe was obvious. But the idea is for us to have 300 people that give regularly monthly, from $25 to $100. The breakdown is if we can get 200 people at 25 and 100 people at 50 and 50 people at 100, it's 350 people regularly giving at a range of amounts per month. Like that's a great sustainable giving goal for us. And so
I'm gonna go home tonight, talk to my husband about that.
Yeah,
we'll probably be at the lower
we sort
end,
of feel like
25.
well, exactly. And if we get when we fill those spaces, it just keeps everything moving. So if you don't feel like you can participate at a higher gifting level, you can definitely participate. And whether that's gifting of time or resources, both are extremely important.
Because you just think about, for at least right now, especially if the women are going to be using the maternity services in Coeur d'Alene, because right now we don't really have any OB services. So we do that. We have a couple people that have volunteered to transport.
To drive,
So that's, if you think about someone that's only able to give on the lower end of things, which is great, but that still will pay for gas for a couple of trips to Coeur d'Alene and back, which is super handy because, gas is not, it can be expensive. And so it's every little penny counts. I always think about, someone challenged me once when we were at one of the churches we went to in Kentucky, and they said they did this ask for the church body, and they're like, we know that all of you at least have one coffee a week. That's $5. Or whatever it is. I think it was
they did something called the
Dollar Club.
And
it was like $1 a day or something. If you can give $7 a week. And they ended up giving away so much money. They would collect so much for how many ever months, and then they would target this one family or this person or whatever it was, and they just would give the money that they raised in this Dollar Club. It was so great.
Yeah. They would do kitchen remodels.
Because pennies add up.
Like
they add up quick.
They do.
And we
that
would
was
take
a church
the pennies.
of 10,000, and so they could crowdsource pretty good with 10,000.
If everyone gives $1. And okay, to go back a little bit, Christ-centered, what does that mean for the women staying there? There's a mandatory Bible study or something that they have to do, or it's just whoever's serving them is going to be Christian? What do you mean when you say Christ-centered?
Yeah, I mean, there's going to be morning devotional. It's going to be obvious that, we believe that in order to have like a full, successful life, that's rooted in Christ, as believers in Christ. And so we know that, if a mom can step into that and step into that belief system, that it'll radically change her life. And so we just want to be exposing them to that. A lot of it is like just the Christian lifestyle and exposing it to them just in behavior and attitude and support. And then some of it is, we're going to have a morning devotional routine. We're going to have every week, once a week, everyone from the main house will come to our house and we'll do like a worship set and talk about just a variety of have a family talk, basically, is how we look at it. We want
Dinner.
this to feel like an extended family for them, long-term extended family. But I mean, we are going to have a program that has required church attendance. They don't have to come to our church. They can come to different churches in the community. And then understanding that when they do that, they get supported by, I mean, the women in this community are pretty amazing. There's a lot of amazing men in the community as well. But one of the things, the women, how they interact with each other as moms just feels unique for our small town. And I'm excited for the women who will live in our maternity home to just see what our town has for them. And just sort of step back and let life happen and let them have, like, the support will just naturally occur. And some of that is being exposed to like regular church attendance and creating the extended family in that atmosphere.
But it won't be a surprise. I mean, people, when they come, they'll have to read the resident guide, which talks about the fact that we're a registered nonprofit faith-based organization. So it won't be a secret that we're going to share Jesus with you when you come. And we just want to love on them and be, examples of, we just want to be the hands and feet of Jesus. I just tell people that all the time. We just literally want to be an extension of the gospel and just loving people in a time that they might not feel it. And I mean, a lot of them could be, I mean, the 2 residents that we had that were our leads are in their 30s. So they probably already know how to cook some things, and they probably already know how to function for the most part as, being an adult. But it's just finding themselves in an unplanned pregnancy and needing reliable housing. So we're excited that we get to offer our land and have a space for them to come and really just navigate what does it look like to be in a space that I can just really like be loved on and receive that. And then also just being surrounded by the community that also wants to love on me and be able to accept it and start making a network for themselves, especially if they're coming from out of state and they don't have anybody. They're going to need, if they want to stay around after, and I'm guessing that they probably would, and that would be the hope, that they would come. And our house mom was telling us yesterday that they had earlier in the program, when they only had served at that point 38 women, they had a dinner that somebody wanted to host, and they were like, well, we'll probably only anticipate at least 17 of them coming back for the dinner. And she said all 38 residents came back, and they had a big holiday dinner cooked for them, and they all celebrated and got together with the moms and the babies and everybody that was the staff, and all of them, every one of them came. She said, but you're just creating community, and you're creating family, and we just are so excited that we get to be a part of it. It just feels so unreal to me. I'm like, how did we get here? We just have been living life and being obedient and keep saying yes when God says go. But it never felt like I'm ever going to be at this place. Again, we just thought we were going to have a room in our house, and here we are launching a 3-bedroom, fully separate house.
It always starts with God.
I know, the Lord's like, wait for me. Yes.
Wait till you step into that. I got plans for you.
I know. It's so cool. Just every little piece. Even just, he'll tell people when they come visit the home, we have a gas burning fire
like a natural
box.
Gas stove.
And when we were building the shop house, it never was intended as a maternity home, like never. And he was fighting me to the nail. I really want to get a wood stove. I really want to get a wood stove. We're gonna have like a little fireplace thing. And I was like, I don't really know. I just don't feel like it's right. And And it wasn't. And we have a gas thing now. And he's like, it's really apparent to me now that even just the smallest detail of us getting that in our house was because the Lord already knew that it was going to be this other space and details that we would never have planned out on our own.
The small things, but you'd never want a wood stove in a maternity home for many obvious reasons.
But do you guys? You might not know this. This will probably get established over time. But do you have any kind of big fundraiser events or things like that you're gonna have that are coming up or?
Yeah, not coming up. Maybe in the spring we'll do a farm to table. We've been talking about doing it in the fall. I know a lot of local nonprofits have fall events, so maybe it would be nice for us to have ours in the spring. But it sort of is an obvious thing for us to do, to have a farm to table dinner, like on the farm outside, and the weather's great, and so that's on our radar for sure, as like a call it the major annual fundraiser.
Gotcha. We'll have to keep an eye and an ear out for that.
I'm excited. We really wanted to be able to pull it together. We're going to do it. We're going to have this fall event. It's going to be awesome. And God was like, no, I'm not going to do that.
I think
not
mostly
just
that
yet.
was me.
Lowercase g.
Too much pressure. Too much pressure.
Okay, I feel like I have a pretty good idea of what y'all are all about, and your doors are open now. And so if people have, if somebody listens to this, they stumble upon it, and they know somebody that's in a need, they can reach out. If they want to volunteer, they can reach out. If they want to donate, they can reach out. Anything that we didn't cover that you think folks need to hear?
I don't think so. I mean, one of the things I would say is we didn't talk about it much, but our daughter's birth mom, we actually had her living with us for 6 weeks at the end of her pregnancy. And that was, we had already known we were on this maternity home trajectory, and the opportunity, she was in Louisiana, she was homeless, we visited her, we couldn't bear the thought of leaving her there, and we didn't know if she would say yes, but we offered her the spare, at that point, barn apartment. Do you want to come and stay on our property? She said, I think I'm supposed to do that. And she prayed about it. We prayed about it. An hour and a half later, we all got on an airplane and flew back to Idaho.
Wow.
And
she was literally at the air. We were running through the airport. She goes, wait, where do you all live? And I'm like, we live in Idaho. And she's like, okay.
Yeah, it was kind of like
from
that.
A movie.
Yeah, it was very
much. It was literally
like
out of a Lifetime movie. We were standing. Jake is running ahead of us because she's pregnant, like 6-7 months pregnant at this point, 8 months pregnant. I can't even know. 8 months pregnant, and he is like running ahead to like save them for shutting the gate on us.
There was one ticket left on the plane when she decided.
And it just happened to be next to me.
Of course.
And it was just all meant. I mean.
Yeah. So she came, and part of what the blessing in that, to bless her with the space was great. I mean, she was drugs, and she has a really bad history and just unfortunate childhood. So, but we brought her in, and she would just rest, and she would sleep in the recliner for 10 hours a day, and just feeling like the comfort and safety, and then we had good healthy food options and that type of thing. And then when she would start participating in, we started doing Bible studies, and then I don't know, 2 or 3 weeks in, we asked her to pray to end it. She's like, well, I don't know how to do that. And so, well, you just open your mouth and talk to God like you would anyone else. And she opens her mouth and just delivers this beautiful prayer that, Jackie and I look up and we're just bawling because it's just like, she's like, was that okay? And we're like, yeah, that was fine. And it was just watching her come out of this hard shell, having been in this life experience that had her just living in fear and angst all the time, to see that open up, and then her laughing and making gingerbread houses, and we did matching pajamas on Christmas, and it was just this amazing opportunity for us to, I mean, most people don't get the opportunity to do that. We felt like it was a huge blessing. Ultimately, she placed the baby with us and went back to Louisiana. And so I wish I could say the end of the story is beautiful for her. We're still helping her try to get clean and get through recovery, but the baby's adopted by us, and she's loved and safe, and all of that, and birth mom, having experienced what our home was like, this is what I want for my child. And so it was a very intimate experience for us, and it also showed us, like, this is so rewarding above and beyond any business success. So it just was reaffirming that like this is what, and this was a year and a half ago. So we've now we're here, and we're just excited to watch the life change happen and see what the Lord does. So
yeah, amazing. Well, I'm very grateful for y'all. I just am excited to see. I'm sure there'll be growth and other things, and in a couple of years, I'll see you're building, condos or something for families, or I don't know.
Sure.
You'll be doing amazing things, and so very grateful for you starting what you've started, and I'm gonna go home, like I said, and talk to my husband tonight. Maybe you'll get a new $25 a month
awesome
contribution or commitment.
Pennies matter.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to today's episode. For more information, you can go to crecIdaho.com. Please like, share, and subscribe. We'll see you again soon.